Hey guys, what's up? Lewin here at GarageBand and Beyond on a windy day here in Philadelphia. But I thought, you know, it's summertime and it's touring season for a lot of bands out there. Or maybe you're a musician who's looking to buy a tour van. So I wanted to talk about tour vans today. And I was going to show you the one that I have right here. This is my 1997 GMC 1500. I think it's called the Sienna. And yeah, I've had this for the last 13 years. I've driven hundreds of thousands of miles in vans a lot like this. I think I've done about 60,000 miles in this particular van. But you know, there's lots of different vans out there to buy. I personally like to buy Chevy vans or Ford vans. I've only owned Chevys, but Chevys and Fords, the parts are easily found at like Pep Boys and they're cheap and stuff like that. Sprinter vans are also great, but the parts are more expensive and not as easily found. But the Sprinters are also really good. But just for keeping overall costs down, I personally recommend Chevys, GMCs, which are the same, or Ford, stuff like that. So anyway, let's dig a little bit deeper into my van, and I'm also going to show you the trailer that I use. But anyway, let's talk about the van, because it's super awesome. Alright, so in case you haven't noticed, it is a high-top van. And me personally, I like high-top vans, but yeah, they do sort of affect your mileage negatively, but only about 1 to 2 miles per gallon, so you know, it adds up over time. But what you get in storage and comfort, you know, like my wife can stand straight up in here. I have to bend over a little. I can show you if I get up. Like if I stand up, it's kind of like this, you know, but I'm 6'1", so it's not, you know, it's not awful. But it's, you know, it's very comfortable to have the high top. If it was just a normal top van, I'd be like this, you know. So it's nice to have the high top. You get extra storage out of it. You get the TV and there's cabinets up there and stuff like that. It also looks a little cooler on the inside, but that's negligible. But anyway, you can see back here, there's the big queen size bed, which is in a total moment of disarray because, like I said, we just got back from a trip. 4 captain's chairs in here, and these two, I'll show you. Over here, these guys, pop the headrest out, and then you bend this guy all the way back. This becomes its own personal one-sized bed. So, you know, if there's 4 of you in the band, you can put 2 people in the back and 2 people in the 4 captain's chairs. And it's, you know, it's a little tight, and depending on who snores or farts at night, it could be a little smelly and noisy, but it's better than sleeping in the dirt and cheaper than a hotel if you're sort of stuck. But anyway, you know, lots of places for people to sleep, and the Chevy vans, you know, those are the two. I've had 2 Chevy vans, I've had RVs, I've had buses, I've had all sorts of things. And me personally, I really enjoy owning the van the best. RVs are a ton of work. When you're off the road, you're pretty much always repairing something. RVs were designed for, you know, people to do vacations in, not necessarily for bands to tour in them. So they tend to get overworked when you buy just like a regular old RV for your, you know, like, don't buy your grandparents' old RV and then expect it to be awesome for touring. It's big and comfortable, but you're going to be spending a lot of money and time repairing things every time you get off the road. That's just sort of the nature of the beast when you own RVs. That's why I like having vans instead. So let's go take a look at the trailer, because obviously trailer is a big important part of this process, so let's take a look at it. Alright, so this is my little Wells cargo trailer. I love the Wells cargo trailers. They're by far my favorite, most affordable but best quality. You know, Home Depot, a lot of places sell cheaper trailers, but having used those, in my experience, they're just not very good. They have a problem with leaking. They have aluminum rims, which you literally have to tighten the lug nuts every like 200 to 300 miles. This has none of those problems. It doesn't leak. They're steel rims, they just stay tight. The bearings are great, the tires are great. Wells Cargo makes great trailers, and I highly, highly recommend them. This one here is a 5x7, and by the time you go from the, so it's 7 feet long, but from the tail to the end of the tongue is a total of 10 feet. So you're not pulling a big long thing, 10 feet behind you or whatever you're pulling it with, your van or your car, not a big deal. But these particular trailers I highly recommend. It uses a typical 2-inch ball joint at the hitch, and then it's really like the consumer level 4-prong hookup thing to get the lights and all that sort of stuff running on the trailer. Let's go around the back and take a look at it. it is nice. You can, you know, put a big heavy duty lock on here. Pretty, you know, nice way to keep your stuff secure. I also recommend, you know, if you're out there on the road and you don't want your trailer to get stolen or broken into, one of the small tricks you can do is either backing it up to a wall or some sort of light pole so people can't at least open the doors, you know what I mean, or try to remove it. There are locks that have short shanks on them. The shank is this part of the lock, right? So Quick Lock, or Master rather, not Quick Lock, those guys make mic stands. Master Lock makes short shank locks. They're circular and they're virtually impossible to cut off, so I highly recommend them. I do have one, but this is the one I used last weekend, no big deal. Anyway, inside of the trailer is this. It's, you know, the inside of a trailer. It's just a big empty box. Nothing too exciting, but if you could imagine all of your band's gear in here, you can fit drums and basses, guitar amps, bass amps, PA systems. You can fit a lot of stuff in a trailer like this. All your merch, all the instruments, everything can go inside of the trailer rather than inside of the van, because when it's all in the van, then you're all just sort of packed in there like sardines with your equipment, and it's not fun at all. So that's why I think having a trailer is totally essential. It just keeps your overall comfort level in the van at the highest it can be, because if you're going to be out on that road for years and years and years, trust me, you do not want to be like shoulder to amp case. It is an awful way to live on the road. So get a trailer if you're going to be doing any sort of extended touring. You won't regret it. They're not that expensive. You can find them used. Don't buy those Home Depot ones unless you plan on putting new rims on them, and get steel rims if you do that. The aluminum ones are shit. We don't like aluminum rims, they're terrible. But yeah, get a trailer. They're super cool. Alright, so that's pretty much it, you guys. You know, like I said, Chevy vans, Ford vans are what I recommend the most because the parts are cheap and easy to find. And a trailer is a super great thing to have, but you know, if you're out there looking for vans, the last thing I wanted to say is if you're lucky enough to find one that has, sometimes they're called rebuilt titles, in this case it's called refurbished. This van right here was actually considered to be totaled by an insurance company long before I owned it. So it went into the junkyard with a salvage title. The conversion company bought it, took it out, straightened the frame, made it into a really nice conversion van, and then resold it for a very discounted price. The big advantage of buying the rebuilds are because they're so much cheaper than the other ones. Now, of course, you do run some risks with that, so if your state or wherever you live, have your mechanic inspect the vehicle before you buy it. But me personally, I bought this one 13 years ago, and I've had very few, or let's say this, I've had zero abnormal problems with it. You know, nothing that was a result of the crash that happened well before I owned it, you know what I mean? So don't be afraid of refurbished vehicles because you just save money and it's not a big deal. You know, chances are when you're going to go to resell the thing anyway, you beat it to hell. And conversion vans are not that valuable on the, you know, on the used market. So if you're out there looking for them, you can find a van just like this for like in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $6,000 or below. It takes some shopping, it takes some time, but you will find them because nobody really wants used conversion vans except people in bands, I think, or people who like to go to festivals and stuff like that. So I think that's about it for today, you guys. I hope you're having a great beginning of the warm, sunny season. If you're heading out there on the road, be safe, be kind to each other, and if you're just thinking about it, it is really fun to go on tour, and these are the kinds of things that make it even more fun for you and your friends. So think about getting a van because they're fun. Alright, you guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Please subscribe to my channel. Watch all these other videos that I've made here on GarageBand and beyond. I really appreciate that. And I just appreciate your support on my project here. Alright, you guys have a great day. Peace.